I'm Sandy Peterson, and this is my son Grant, one of the more experienced players of Cthulhu Wars. We're going to talk about the strategies in detail. I'm going to talk about the exact abilities and spellbooks each faction gets.
I'll be talking about strategies for playing each of the factions. So, now we're going to go over some particulars of the strategy for winning as Cthulhu. As with every other faction, in order to win, you need to have all 6 of your spellbooks. So, this is what your strategy should be partly based around. In order to maximize the number of spellbooks you get in the first round, it's best, if possible, to try and get 3 gates in the ocean, allowing you to get the control 3 gates in ocean areas. 3 gates in ocean areas spellbook. This will cost you all of your power altogether, 1 for each cultist that you move, so there's 2 power, and then another 6 for each of the gates, costing 3 each. This, ideally, would be the end of your first turn. However, sometimes the other factions want to be predatory and bring out ghouls or perhaps night gaunts to come and prey on you. If this is the case, then you don't want to build 2 gates in the oceans. Probably what you want to do instead is protect a gate you've already built with a deep one. This slows down your acquiring of spellbooks, but at least you don't lose a gate to another faction in the first round. Now, spellbook selection. Generally speaking, the first 2 spellbooks you want to get are Devolve, so that, if necessary, you can instantly protect a lone cultist guarding a gate. Here comes a night gaunt flying in to try to kidnap this cultist. Well, after he flies in, for free with Devolve, at the end of his action you just immediately pop a deep one down there. Then, on your turn, you can simply summon a cultist right back with the one that you lost from replacing with a deep one. That's why Devolve is good early on. Dreams, like I said, is also important for keeping other people from expanding. It means they always have to have a monster or an additional cultist with them to protect themselves. Now after this, once you have a good power base set up, you want to summon Cthulhu. This gets you what is probably going to be your 3rd spellbook. At this point, you have several decisions to make based on what's going on around the board. If there's nobody really nearby you, then at this point you probably want to go ahead and get Submerge, so that you can get Cthulhu. Maybe you summon a deep one or 2 and put them on the card with him. Summon a deep one, put them on the card. And then you teleport off to the distant reaches of the map way over here where we can't see off camera. And there you battle it out and devour people for more spellbooks. However, if you are fortunate enough to have enemies right next door, say here in South America, then rather than get Submerge, what you may want to do at this point is get Absorb or Regenerate to help Cthulhu out. I would choose Absorb, which is the Shoggoth combat power, if you are just free to go really on the offensive. Because, observe, we unsubmerge here in South America with all of our delicious units. A couple of deep ones, Shoggoth, Cthulhu. And we can get these 2 spellbooks at once by killing and or devouring 3 enemy units at once. Of course, Cthulhu's Devour will go off and get you one of those right away. And if the Shoggoth absorbs the 2 deep ones that are present, he's rolling 8 combat dice plus Cthulhu's 14 combat dice. At about 1 kill every 6 dice, you're almost certain to get your 3 kills and devours all at once. So that'll get you those 2 spellbooks, and after that, Cthulhu was awakened, so we get to have that spellbook. After that, bam, you get your last spellbook in the cleanup phase. Now, if enemies have chosen to be building their gates out in the oceans, then when you summon Cthulhu in the first place, you might want to get Yahanna Thlay instead of Submerge to start getting power from them. And of course then, since they're in the ocean, often you can just take a step to here or to here and devour them for a quick spellbook to help out with and then at that point you might get Absorb or Regenerate to prepare yourself for going out and really stomping on the other factions. So, at the start of the second round, you will have at least 1 spellbook. I recommend that the spellbook be Dreams because that really hampers your enemy's ability to expand. If, for example, Crawling Chaos has a lone cultist at a gate, you need spend only 3 power to take it over for yourself. In this case, you'd have to devolve one of your cultists first, so you can get a cultist available to take over that gate. That's a really quick, easy way to take over a gate. Now also, in the second round, if you don't have 3 ocean gates yet, you'll want to build one. So spend more power to have that happen. Okay, so that's getting your first 2 spell books. At this point, you want to summon Cthulhu as soon as possible so you can go about getting the rest of your spell books. So, say we're in the 3rd round now, you should have 14 power for your various cultists and your gates, and bam! We get Cthulhu on the map. Oh yeah. From here on out, it becomes pretty simple to get the rest of your spell books. You use Submerge to get Cthulhu and any other guys onto your card, and then you have them appear elsewhere on the board, say here, where there happens to be some foolish Dark Young and Migo hanging out, and then you just go about devouring and rolling combat dice against them and killing them to get the rest of your spell books. Once you have your 2 kill and or devour enemy unit spell books, then the final cleanup phase after that, you'll get your 6th spell book and you'll be ready to win the game with rituals. Now, a reason you might want to take Regenerate over Absorb is if, as Cthulhu, you feel like you really need to take out a strong area of the enemy to keep them from getting ahead or stop them from doing rituals if they are ahead. So, with Regenerate, your Star Spawn is very tough to kill and provides Cthulhu with a lot of protection. Here we have Crawling Chaos with Nyarlathotep and 2 Hunting Horrors, some of its stronger units, hanging out in North America. We really want to destroy them, but we don't want Cthulhu to die, for whatever reason. So, we submerge with Cthulhu and the Star Spawn, which has the Regenerate power, and re-emerge up here in North America. It's a bit more unlikely that Cthulhu will die in this situation, since the Star Spawn can soak up to 2 kills. And Cthulhu, with the Star Spawn together, will probably roll enough combat dice to take out the Hunting Horrors and Nyarlathotep. So now, let's move on to particular weaknesses that Cthulhu has, and how other factions can take advantage of those to defeat the Great Cthulhu faction. Cthulhu's weaknesses are pretty simple. Essentially, he has one big combat powerhouse group of monsters. But his periphery, as I just demonstrated, is easy to topple over. They're usually guarded just by simple cultists and deep ones, and even though those cultists can suddenly turn into deep ones, they really aren't that bad news for somebody who has Hunting Horrors and Dark Young who can come in and pretty much mop the floor with such little dinky things. Now, it's true that Cthulhu may eventually bring his big bash of guys to come and retake that gate, but he really can't retake his gates as quickly as the other factions can take them for themselves in the mid to late game. So Cthulhu's other weakness is that he's far more dependent on having his gates to get doom points than on elder tokens. The other factions gain elder tokens more easily, but Cthulhu really needs those gates when he does rituals to gain his doom points. That's another reason why attacking his little his cultist controlling gates at the edges that are less protected is important, and the best way to target Cthulhu to defeat him.